Yes, ma'am. I apologize, madam.
This one loud.
Okay, Madam President, you're good to
All
go.
right.
Madam
Madam
Chairman.
Chair. All right.
You got stuff going on there.
We will now call this meeting to order. City of New Haven meeting agenda, Youth Services Committee. Meeting can be viewed on Board of Alders YouTube. Board of Alders New Haven notice. The Youth Services Committee will meet in person on Wednesday, March 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. located at 165 Church Street, second floor, Board of Alders Chambers, New Haven, Connecticut, to hear from a New Haven PAL, Police Activity League representative, discuss and highlight the program and its commitment to the youth in our city. Per order, Honorable Kimberly Edwards, Chair, attest Honorable Michael Smart, City Clerk. If you need an accessibility-related accommodation, please contact 203-946-7651 voice or 203-946-8582 TTY. In accordance with the City of New Haven COVID-19 policies, masks are now optional at meetings. Public may send comments to public testimony at newhavenct.gov. All right, so I'm gonna call our presenters up and have you all be seated at the table here with us. And as you all are approaching, I'm gonna ask my committee members we're gonna do a roll call, basically how we do.
Sure.
And I'm gonna start with the right-hand side.
Frank Redenti, Alder Ward 15, Ferry.
Carmen Rodriguez, Ward 6.
Kimberly Edwards, Ward 19.
Honda Smith, Ward 30.
All right, and thank you for being here today. What we're gonna ask of you is, before you start your presentation, we're just gonna ask that you each state your name and address for the record. And make sure you speak like near the mics.
Name and address.
Yeah, just for the record.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have to jump into it. It's big.
Is that the ugly mic
Cameron Curtis, and you want my home address?
or business address?
1 Union Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut.
Patricia Lamb, 1 Union, New Haven, Connecticut.
Sergeant Ron Ferrante, 1 Union Avenue.
All right, thank you all for being here, and I would just like to acknowledge our order from Ward 20 has arrived. All right, so you got the floor.
Okay, love to hear that. So I did share over a video. I don't know if we have it. If you wanted to start with that, I brought this over when I was away at training. We have a year-end ComStat with the police department, and I felt like it did a great job kind of explaining out the PAL program, our successes from the past year. It's a little bit about myself. I am in the process of retiring, but staying around to work with PAL. So I just thought this would be a good way to kind of introduce it at first. Say a few things.
Thank you for that. Before I have you speak,
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge Alder Cooper. She is on our committee, and I'd like to acknowledge our Chief Jacobson as well. Thank you for being in attendance.
Thank you, and I'm a little under the weather, so I'm sitting back.
All right, we appreciate that. We on the same team. We like that. All right, that was a great video. You wanna talk
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
open it up to questions?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll start off by saying and I've always said this, is the city of New Haven does an amazing job for the youth of New Haven. There's so many organizations, programs, youth and rec. There's so many options for kids, and we're blessed that Chief Jacobson allows us just to be another option or opportunity. That's the slogan we use is option and opportunity for the kids. I have the most amazing officers working for me. I have 2 here now. I have 7 in total, and what's amazing is I oversee the school resource officers. So they're in the high schools during the day, and then we are the PAL officers. So in the afternoons, on the weekends, during the summer, the chief allows us to run these programs and these events. I brag, I tell chief, I have the best job in the police department. I have the best officers in the police department, and the little bit of a backstory is what happened in my life has brought me to where I am. And I'm ending my career as a police officer, doing everything I've ever wanted to do. There's so much more I think PAL can do. And again, it's with the support of the city. We don't have our own building, so thanks to the New Haven Public School System, they allow us to use their schools. Thank you to New Haven Athletics, they allow us to use their field. So we walk up, the Alder got us soccer in Fairhaven. So we come up with an idea, and we have police officers committed that want to be a part of these kids' lives, and we figure out a way to do it. And luckily, we've grown a lot since COVID. We only had the summer camp going on, and we're up to 10 programs now in the events, thanks to New Haven Athletic, and thanks to Yard doing the Friday night lights, doing the light up the night. We try to think of things, again, active, engaged, and off the streets, and you give these kids these options and opportunities, and it's there for the taking. And luckily, we've been doing pretty good. I'm sorry. And so this is Officer Patricia Lamb, by the way, and this is Officer Gabby Curtis, and they're 2 officers, and they're amazing. So I could sit here and talk all day, and I know there's a lot about me, but these programs, it wouldn't be where it is without these officers. Every idea I come up with, everything I think of, everything I'm stressing about, they just say, "We got you, Sarge," and they make sure that it happens. So I'll keep saying it, I'm truly blessed.
Thank you. You all want to say something or not yet? I
I
didn't want to skip over you, but I didn't want to.
They know I like to talk. I'm sorry.
Thank you for your presentation. Committee members. Alder Redentic.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question, but if you allow me a little leeway, I want to just make a couple comments. So I have a long history with PAL, going back to Officer Picagli. When I was a young 18 or 19-year-old basketball coach, and we didn't have ways to get back and forth to tournaments, Danny Picagli would pick us up in the PAL van and drive us around to tournaments. He would also pay for our kids to go to when the casinos first opened, they set up rec centers for their kids, and he would take us out there. And that was some of the best times for our kids. So, I've always had a very long-standing relationship with PAL. I have a very good relationship with Sergeant Ferranti. I want to thank you for your help bringing Sidney Akeem here for his speaking engagement at Wilbur Cross. So many things that make me happy about seeing what you're doing. Stuff like hockey being back at Walker. That's something we grew up with. I couldn't skate as a kid, but a lot of my friends were hockey players. And I always said that that's where, there was a kind of a shift in the school system when we lost hockey in our high schools. I think it's something that's important, that our kids learn that sport, I love seeing boxing and jiu-jitsu, which I'm a fan, as well as the flag football and the soccer. Those are things that haven't been around in a long time. And if you wanted your kid to play those, you had to find a private program. So that's great that we're doing that. So I also want to give a special shout out to Officer Matt Franco, who does the boxing and the jiu-jitsu. If you haven't met him, you should meet him. He's incredible. You should have brought that video too. That would be great.
There's a lot of videos.
So with all that being said, and I'm a fan, one more piece of personal knowledge, not to make her embarrassed, but I know Gabby and her family for a long time. She was one of my students at Edgewood. So I've pretty much known her whole life. So this is kind of a full circle moment. I'm trying not to tear up. So what can we do to help you get a facility? Because we are one of the only major cities in the state that doesn't have one. I mean, I think Bridgeport, Danbury, Hartford, Waterbury, all have their own self-contained PAL center, and I just think it's a shame that we don't. So what can we do?
So anything I say is gonna be naive, because I don't know the first place. In my mind, I talk simply, I wish there was just a vacant or a building or something that the city would maybe see what we're trying to do, see how we're trying to partner with everyone in the city, and that we just want to be another option. My goal and my dream, obviously, and I don't know how to get it, is to have a centralized location, to have a place, we always say it, where when school ends, the same way that they can go to Shack, that there's a place where they can go where maybe there's a basketball court, where we have a mat for jujitsu, where we have a classroom to get an educational piece. It's easier to kind of control our programs, or maybe to provide more programs. I pride myself that almost actually every single one of our programs are police officer run, because that's what PAL is to me, right? It's getting to see the police officer outside of their uniform. And then how cool is that? You're at a program with them, then you see them inside the school as a school resource officer. But I don't want to take away with hockey. You mentioned hockey. Mark DeCola, who just retired from Public Works, Mark DeCola came to me and he taught me hockey when I was a hockey player. He taught me when I was a child. He said, Ron, I want hockey back in New Haven. And he got the ball rolling. So it's like somebody, I'll get the idea in my head, I'll get excited, but it's people like that. It's Officer Franco, who from Yale Police Department, my Lieutenant Rosa, who's now retired, he ran our jujitsu program, he retired. I know nothing about jujitsu. I just know I want kids off the street. And Officer Franco stepped up, and he's at the program right now. Mark DeCole is at the hockey program right now that I would be at if I wasn't here. He's making sure, along with some of the other officers, that the programs are going. But I know I'm not going to have a place with a hockey rink, but my dream, our vision is a building somewhere partnered with anyone, or shared space that kids can know when school's out, I have somewhere to go.
So can I add to that too? We have a board, PAL's a nonprofit. The board's made up of regular people and, police officers. We've enlisted the help of some statewide representatives. We're looking at former religious sites, the Catholic Church sells a lot of buildings and that type of thing. So we are trying to move forward on that, slowly but surely. The most important part was to use the money to get the kids up and running and to do these programs and to show that we really do need a building.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And they've never looked at the old Board of Ed warehouse on Ferry Street. That's just been sitting vacant since Board of Ed sold it.
Yeah, so I'll take full, I'll probably not, without my due diligence, there's probably more I could be doing, or I should be doing. But, like I said, I'm proud of where we've gotten to, but I know there's a lot more we can do. And I need to take it upon myself to continue. But the chief's been amazing. Anything that I've asked for, he makes sure that I've been given the tools to make it happen. And yeah, if there's a building that the city wants filled, I would do it in a heartbeat.
You're most welcome. Alder Smith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sergeant Ferranti, I just want to tell you, you're doing an amazing job. I really don't have a question.
Thank you.
You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you. And I just want to say how proud I am of Gab. I'm not going to say what I used to call you, but when you stepped onto the police force, I was so elated that you have joined the police force and made it through. We go way back. I'm not going to age myself, but it's a part of it that's in that, what I just said, age. Gabby is an awesome track and field person, runs the track. So I'm pretty sure you can catch the bad guys with no problem. But, I just want to say kudos to all of you, Ms. Lamb, you also. I'm so proud of you all that took the opportunity to spend time with these kids. that really need it, right? And there's a lot more young people that really need it. I often say, we have some strong youth programs in the city of New Haven, but we need to clone them, right? So that the whole city can have these programs, because we can't do it all by ourselves, right? And I just want to extend to you all, once our studio is built, if you have someone that think they can make music, send them in. And if you have someone that want to do music now, we have Grammy Award winning producers in all genres right now that's training kids, and I'll take care of all the fees.
Well, and that's why I sit here like, listen, you're like an idol. Like, we see what you do, right? You could put a video on showing exactly what you do, and that's what I think is amazing. Is there's so many opportunities out there that people are trying to put out there, and I just think the more we try to get better with social media, the more families in the community see it. Hopefully they'll latch onto it. That means a lot for me. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're most welcome. Alder from Ward 20.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a comment. First, that was a fantastic video. I just want to say that the PAL program was the best thing invented. You know, a lot of parents in New Haven can't afford camp, and my two daughters was able to go to camp PAL. And then one of my daughters, Kayla, you probably don't know her. Kayla, she worked. You guys know Kayla. Kayla's she worked with PAL last year, and her dream is to be a cop in New Haven. And when I tell you, I am going to be on her about that, because I believe that programs like these, it gives the kids outlet. My daughter told me the best thing of her summer was PAL, despite the fact that she stayed on punishment. But but PAL, it did something for her. Even being a counselor, being that role model, she just said, "Mom, the kids love me," and I'm just like, "Well, make sure you're, being a good example for them." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a cop." And she talked about all the police officers and how much the police officers talk to her, and I'm just like, do it. So these programs are really creating the future generation of public service cops in New Haven. So keep doing what you're doing. I see the investment with my own daughter, and my other daughter, she's gonna be able to work for youth at work this summer, and she put in her comment PAL, because she it's amazing. So thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. It's not in vain, and it is really making a huge impact on our kids.
Thank you so much. And seeing that, so I love that you shared that, and what else is exactly what you're saying. Like, I wouldn't have known that. So when I was in 5th grade, that officer has no idea that him hugging me when my father was shot, like, that was one of the, I'll never forget that. For you saying that, knowing that she's having such a great time, we may never hear that, nor do we need to hear it, but the fact that you share that, that's right, that's the ultimate outcome, is something that we're doing, whether it's becoming a police officer, whether it's becoming a doctor, when it's deciding to go to college, like, something that we're doing, or a program or an event that we put on, maybe just kind of puts them down another path, or sees officers in another light. And I think this is policing. Like, I became a New Haven police officer because of community-based policing 20 years ago. We had walking beats. We don't as much now, but like, this is community-based policing. This is what I always wanted to do, and Chief has allowed me to do this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other? Alder from Ward 6.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant and officers. Appreciate that you guys are here this evening. You mentioned do you share space with the youth department?
So we permit everything out. So we have 200 Wintergreen Ave, which is the old military building that the police department took over. We kind of stole the basement area. Well, you're as chief. So we have a room that we run our jujitsu out of, and we created kind of like a PAL conference room that we were running our chess club out of, and some other little programs. Besides that, our summer camp, we put a permit in for Wilbercross High School. Basketball, we'll usually put a permit in for Salentano. Soccer, we did like a weekly clinic. We put in a permit for, so we basically try to permit out locations. But again, we're spread thin, so we can only do almost all of our programs are seasonal, except for boxing and jiu-jitsu. And boxing, we tried to run out of 200 wintergreen. We had 200 kids sign up. We had no boxing ring. It was just, we kind of grew out of it. So we found Powerhouse Gym had a gym that they fixed up for us. So we signed a contract with them to be able to work out of there. So at least have a boxing ring while again, we try to figure out what we're doing, but they've been great about adding equipment for us. Again, I feel like I wish we had a more centralized location, but it's something we've never had before.
Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. And you also mentioned that you all would be willing to share, if there was a space that would come to fruition, you would be willing to share it with whomever else would use that space.
1 million,
Okay.
1 million%. I just think, I mean, I don't like-minded, like people like same vision programs somehow, like a facility came where we could all be, I mean, what's better than that?
And then my final comment is, how do they, so the children, there's an application that the kids through the school system get, or you send it out?
So we've changed it within the past few years. So we have our own website now, newhavenpal.com. So we post most of our programs on there. We also, sorry, I talk fast.
No, you're good. So do I. Slow and nice.
We have an Instagram account too as well that will post programs, and on our Facebook. What happens is typically so what we try to do is families that really have grown to be involved with us, we'll typically put it up there first. Everything's prioritized New Haven residents first.
Yes.
Then it's New Haven public school students. So what I'll do is the following day is I'll reach out to Justin Harmon, who's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll send him anything I have going on, and he'll push it out to the families. And I know when he sends it out because it's super exciting because my cell phone starts blowing up because it's connected to our website, and then that's how the programs get pushed out. So again, they're amazing at getting it out there. Or any community meeting we're allowed to go to, we're trying to just get the word out there.
Thank you for the information. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions or comments from committee members? Well, my baby went to PAL. Now it's my turn now. And he loved it. I was nervous at first because he was one of those boys, a little wild. And I was like, how is my baby gonna be crazy when he gets big? But he wasn't. He was just a little boy with energy. But I was so comforted when I had him in PAL because of the police officers. They reeled him in. And I saw my classmate. Tyson was my classmate. And when I saw him, I'm like, oh yeah, do whatever you want. He's all yours, you can have him. But it was great seeing, and this was the Google Cross site, it was great seeing the amount of children you had registered, and that was many years ago. And to see how your program has now evolved into so much more is amazing. And that's the reason we wanted to have you here tonight. I think it's important that we highlight the programming in our city. Children get permission slips, they get things at school, but parents sometimes say there's no activities for children in our communities. And I just feel as a committee, when we hear of something great going on, we have to do our due diligence and support you all with getting the word out there. And I was excited when I talked to you, Sergeant Ferrante, because you were like really excited and I was really excited. So that was a crazy conversation. But you all are here. So I thank you for your commitment and for the work that you all truly do. And I did have one kind of half a question. You said you have 7 people helping you out?
So I should be fair. I have 7 school resource officers who are amazing, but I'm lucky. I also have Officer Franco from Yale. I have Officer Claxton from the Yale Police Department who helps with our basketball. I have Lieutenant Dunford who works on the patrol side, who runs my flag football program for me. And he has some patrol officers that help us out. So I'm blessed that when they're able to fill in, that's how we're able to continue to create these programs. And again, I'm not saying I love community help, but I do love the aspect of PAL of being with a police officer and realizing we're goofballs just like everybody else, so we will PAL it and all that stuff. So I love having a police officer rooted in any program that we do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for coming, presenting. We loved your little video.
Thank you.
That was cute. And I just want to note to committee members, you can see some links here,
Mhm.
the PAL website, and information, please make sure you share it. Because once I find out that you have stuff going on and we get an email up, I try to share it with my networks.
I apologize, I forgot all my cards, but I'm gonna
That's
give you a
okay.
card. I feel like it's cool. You can scan the
We'll make a
QR
copy. Yes, we
code, it's
will.
got my cell phone, it's got, our website on there, Instagram and all that, and we're lucky, we love what we do, so, and anytime we can talk about PAL, you can have me back anytime you want.
Well, anytime you wanna come back, you let us know.
Okay.
If there's a development, if
Okay.
there's something going on, anything,
All right.
you let us know. You can bring, one of your participants if you want to.
All right.
To speak on your behalf. It doesn't matter. We welcome all of you. We thank all of you for what you are truly doing because it does make a difference in our communities. And as we say, you're a village. You're part of the village.
Yes.
And, that's what we need in our community. So we are here to spread the word. We want to make sure you got enough students too, sign the applicants, put them on the waiting list. We want to build capacity too if we can, but.
It's going good, we're going good, and listen, if you hear any vacant buildings, feel free to just send me a text message.
Order from Ward 6, and then I'll go to, can I defer and go to order from Ward 8 first?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I just want to apologize for being tardy. Second, thank you so much. This is amazing. An open invite, let me know whatever you need. If you can come to Conti, we get to basketball, that would be phenomenal to partner with you guys. And then I wanted to just, so I have a 5-year-old son. We're really excited to sign him up for PEL hockey. Something got lost in the ether, his gear never showed up, but it worked out because he's 5 and he's shy.
Okay.
So we'll come back next year. But just giving folks, I grew up in New Haven. I never played hockey, and having that accessible to our kids is so important. So thank you.
I'm sorry the equipment didn't show up.
It's okay. It was there was a night I had to order the late. I sent my in-laws. It got lost in the shuffle. It worked out.
Okay.
He's small. This is good.
And that was our first program so typically we run 8 to 17 years old, but I was excited, the Rangers, who were amazing, by the way, and helped us do all that. They wanted to start a little bit younger, so we were able, because a lot of people do say, do you have anything for 5 or 6 years? And I said, unfortunately, just the way our age range runs, so sorry, but I hope you sign up.
We'll be back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
No problem. Order from Ward 6.
Thank you very much. Goodness, you threw it out to the universe. So now we have to figure out and go around the neighborhoods to see what vacant building. And to hear you say that you're willing to share a space is important because that works. And also, I know you have an amazing team. But send it out to us, the alders, and we could come out and support. And if you guys don't put me to run now, but if you need us, to volunteer, because we are part of this city, and we live in these neighborhoods. Every one of us, I'm going to say I've raised 3 amazing sons in this city, and it's not what the narrative is out there that our children cannot succeed, but. What you guys are doing, you're capturing them at a vulnerable stage. And they go home. And just like you, they will remember that. So you threw it out to the universe, and we're going to share your card. So hopefully you're going to get that building.
I love that. And again, that's what one of my mistakes is you're right, I don't put it out enough. And that's, we want people to see the great work that they're doing and my officers are doing. And I do think the more people see what our ideas and what we're trying to do and our vision, the more hopefully I think people will learn or want to buy into what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm going to cut it. Sorry about that.
And I can get, and I apologize, I was supposed to bring a bunch, I can get more, I can, everything, so.
We'll look you up on the city website.
We can find you.
We have your email.
Thank you so much for having us here. You have no idea how much
Thank
this
you.
matters.
You're making an impact in the lives of our children and in our community. And children, I love when the children realize they also have an impact on us when we're doing this kind of work. So like I said, thank all of you for what you're doing. Keep up the good work, keep your heads up, and we will blast it all over.
We gonna
Thank
find the
you.
building.
It will
Thank
be
you.
on my personal social media pages, all my pages.
Thank you.
And that's it, unless you have questions for us or anything like that, but this is your show. This is,
No,
we're here for you.
Can I just make one more comment? I'm sorry, I'm
No, go
staying
ahead.
away because I'm sick. But
That's good.
the one thing that Ron didn't bring up, that's even just as important as this, is the relationships they're all building with the kids. When we had tragedies in this city of a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old being murdered, and we were able to make an arrest in one of the situations, it was the SROs that helped get kids to talk to us and provide us with the much needed information. That's priceless. There was also the SROs and the PAL officers that helped calm the kids down and told us specific kids that we needed to talk to. They attended some of the funerals, and they do things that you just don't see day to day. And I'm very proud of the program, and I've tried to expand it as much as possible. And a lot of the people like Gabby, who grew up in the city, and Alethea Moore, who was a track star who grew up in the city, they're giving back to their high schools, and you can see it, you know, and it's just so successful. And I've done a lot of things in policing. I've been a cop for 28 years. I've done crime syndicates, takedowns, and drug cases, and gang cases, and murder cases, and it's all crap. This is important. This is what I'm proud of. Being able, with Ron and his people and these two awesome officers and the rest of the crew, when I show up at those events and see what they're doing, I'm like, this is what it's all about. Because this means these kids have a chance, and they're not going to be the next murder victims. And Ron was right. You can't put a price on it. You can't put a number on it. And we just appreciate everybody in the city supporting us. And the relationships these kids have with the cops are amazing. They actually don't listen to the media about police. They have their own interactions, right? And I'm sure all your kids will tell you the same. And, you know, just extremely proud of it and thankful to them, and thankful the way the city receives it too.
Thank you for that.
Thanks, Chief.
And like I said, you all are making an impact, and that impact goes both ways. I'm not gonna talk long. I'm gonna say one last thing. But I grew up, no, I'm gonna let y'all go home. But what you're doing, you know it's important. Keep your heads up, like I said, because the situation we spoke about, the violence and with our youth. I went to school in the 90s. I'm an older woman now. Every other week or every week, I lost classmates, like people I was close to. I'm old school. I was just looking at a clipping from, you know, the New Haven Register, one of my friends, 18 years old. So I lost someone weekly that I actually went to elementary, middle, or high school with. And I wish we had the kind of supports or the system to communicate, you know, back then. So thank you. And maybe we can avoid these tragedies. This is a step in helping it. So once again, thank you for everything you all are doing.
Thank you.
And your partnerships and everything.
Well, thank you so much for reaching out. Like, you means the world. Means the world. So,
That's what we do. That's why we're here. So,
anything else?
anything
One
else?
last question. Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. He said yes. Do you guys have a flyer that we can send out to community?
So
I know you have.
So, and I'll reach out. Anthony from Wilbur Cross is amazing. So he's their printer tech guy.
Yeah.
When we start a new program, like I just sent him an email. I was like, hey, our summer camp is about to open. Can you create me a flyer? So I sent him pictures, and he's amazing on doing that. I've begun to, because we never had our own website before, so I rely on that for a lot. But typically, a lot of what I send out is our logo with information. Like, it's not super jazzy, but when, you know, the big stuff, Anthony hooks me up and he does some nice flyers. But when the summer camp, I'll have that. I can send it out. I'm proud of this, but it's crazy. Recently, our programs have been filling up, like, again, with funding, right? Unfortunately, we can't I wish we could take everybody. We can't, and for safety issues, but last year our summer camp filled up in 30 minutes. This year, hockey filled up in 20 minutes. And it means that people want to be a part of it. But right, unfortunately, like, how many people wanted to but couldn't get in? So we do try to push it out. We do create flyers. So I listen.
And I'll go to the website as well, absolutely. But definitely, I just, and again, this is such an amazing program. And how we highlight the youth department, we want to highlight you guys at whatever community meetings we go to.
Thank
You know what I mean? And I think it's important, even if we put a flyer in someone's door, this is what PAL does. And that's when PAL, does a fundraiser and things like that. This is what people need to know so that then you guys, I know you're being funded, but I'm quite sure, like you said, things close up in 10 minutes. But the more people know about you, let's keep throwing it out to the universe to see who gets involved. There's a lot of,
Donation, sponsorships, and grants, that's what we work on, and that's how we're able to not charge anything
Okay. All
for the
right.
programs, but it's on my mental to-do list, I'm gonna create you a nice flyer.
I'll be
That's
texting.
it.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Alderman Dempsey.
Are those snazzy hoodies for sale?
That
That might be a good fundraising idea.
Listen, I don't wanna brag, this isn't brag. For the first time ever, the chief, we're gonna get to march in the St. Patrick's Day parade. So we've never done that before. Lieutenant McDermott, who oversees our traffic division, he didn't know if they were gonna need us to work. Typically, everybody's called in. They figured out a way to make it happen, and we were gonna have over 125 kids. And we had, my point and I'll get something. We're having these specially made green St. Patrick's Day PAL sweatshirts made up to commemorate it, because I've always wanted to do this, and we're finally gonna get to do it.
I'll be
So.
there.
And we're till May 3rd. We're
May
gonna,
3rd, Fair Haven Day, they're
Fair
gonna be
Haven
walking
Day.
around.
You know what? As much as we can do, that's what we want to do. So.
Also, let me just say that during Fair Haven Day, Sergeant Ferranti will have the run of the gymnasium and also the lower level classrooms to run all his programs and recruit kids.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
And
having me.
I'll be
Thank you
blocking off
very
roads
much.
at the St. Patrick's Day.
And
Chief is working for me.
did you tell him what's going on in the night? He's gonna have to send us some guys at night.
All right, thank you so much once again for coming.
Thank you
We
so much.
appreciate
Thank you. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for real.
Thank you.
All right, so our presenters are done presenting. Thank you, committee members, for being here. Thank you for your insight, your comments, your questions. We have nothing else on the agenda. Our workshop has ended.
Madam Chair, I make a motion for we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Now we're gonna take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion has been, the motion carried. We are adjourned. Yes. Chief, can you spare a officer to go with me to Puerto Rico? All right, I'm gonna call you because I need to. Bye.
Sorry.
Ooh, I was trying to. You go ahead.
So I just want to thank
I'm gonna send y'all my program. Yeah.